son of the richest man actually concealed your identity for love and dated Yin Yujuan, a female CEO worth hundreds of billions, for a full 10 years. Just when you were full of joy and planned to confess your identity to her and give her a surprise, you heard words that made you feel like you were falling into an ice cellar. You went to see Yin Yujuan as usual, but heard her best mocking you in French in front of you. Sister you are going to marry Chen Xiao next month. What about the little boyfriend you have at home? Have you broken up? Yin Yujuan took a sip of the red wine in her hand. No, I love him very much, but his family is too poor and we can't get married in a formal way. I married Chen Xiao just to give an explanation to my family. He is my true love. I will keep it a secret from him after marriage and just keep him outside. They were so open about it because they were sure you couldn't understand French, but they didn't know that you were proficient in 6 languages, and French was even easier. It turned out that while you and Yin Yujuan were in love, she had already agreed to the marriage arranged by her family. She gently coaxed you to call her husband. She was busy preparing for her wedding with someone else. You looked unhappy, and you used the excuse of going to the bathroom to call home as soon as you went out. Mom and Dad, I am willing to go back and inherit the family property. I will settle everything here in a week. From now on, she will get married, and you will inherit the family business and go your separate ways. When you came back after the call, the game was over. You followed everyone out of the box, and after a few steps, you heard a strange voice behind you, Master Meng. You paused and turned around to find that it was the partner who had begged to cooperate with your father before. You didn't want to reveal your identity, and you were thinking about how to get away with it. The sisters following in, each one glanced at you and sneered. What master? The clothes he wears are no more than 300 yuan in total. How can he be a master? It's a big joke. As soon as this was said, it immediately caused a burst of laughter. Yin Yujuan was angry, and gave the man a cold warning look, and everyone gradually quieted down. You followed Yin Yujuan home, and there was no conversation along the way. After arriving home, she suddenly said, I won't take you to this kind of game in the future. You said calmly, do you think I embarrassed you? She laughed and wanted to hug you, but you avoided her. She explained helplessly, what are you thinking about? I just don't want you to be wronged, but there is a gap in our status and we will always face this situation at that time. Hasn't your family urged you to get married? You looked at her, trying to find a trace of guilt in her expression. But when she heard the word marriage, her expression was only stiff for a moment, and she quickly returned to normal, as in, it's enough for you to know that the person I love is you. As for other problems, I will find a way to solve them. After that, she went to the bathroom to wash up. At this time, the notification sound of Yin Yujuan's mobile phone receiving a message rang from the direction of the bedside table. You clicked on the message interface, and it was a message from Chen Yuk. Hello you, we are going to meet the parents of both parties tomorrow. If you don't stay at my place today, will the elders know about our fake marriage? I know you love your boyfriend, but at least these few days, can you give me a decent look? You looked at the message. Your heart was full of bitterness. Not long after, Yin Yujuan came out of the shower, took the phone and took a look, then looked at you with apology. As in, the company suddenly has something urgent and needs me to go over. So I won't be back tonight. You have a good rest alone. You didn't try to keep her this time and watched her leave. Not long after Yin Yujuan left, your phone also received a message from Chen Yuk. As long as I said a word, will you still come to see me? What are you? A lover who can't see the light. His words were like a knife, stabbing you hard, and what made you even more uncomfortable was that this knife was handed over by your girlfriend, who you thought you could entrust your life to. Yin Yujuan didn't come back that night, but you didn't care. When you woke up the next day, you went directly to the company to complete the resignation procedures and went home with your things. When I got home, Yin Yushuan was there. She saw you holding a box and was a little surprised. Resigned? You nodded and walked towards the room with the box. She frowned and called you. Don't you like this job very much? Why did you quit suddenly? You paused, looked at her and smiled. Because I have a job I want to do more next time. Yin Yushuan didn't ask much, just said, come back if you are too tired from work, as in you should know that I can't support you. You shook your head and said word by word, I am not someone's accessory. Yin Yushuan was stunned. How can I be an accessory? She didn't want to listen anymore, so you interrupted her. Why did you come back so early today? Didn't you go to the company? Her brows relaxed. I've been too busy at work recently, and I don't have time to accompany you. Today I thought of taking time to accompany you. What do you want to do? Eat Western food or watch a movie? No matter what you want to do today, I will accompany you. If it were in the past, you would probably be very touched, but now you can't help but wonder, is it because you are too busy at work or preparing for the wedding? But you didn't expose her in the end, since there were only a few days left anyway. You shook your head, rejected her proposal, and finally said, come with me to do a big cleanup. Many things in the villa are old, and there is no point in keeping them. Yin Yushuan agreed and accompanied you to clean up. But at the end of the cleaning, she found that all the things you sorted out were the couple's items you bought together, from water cups to accessories, from clothes to slippers, all of which were thrown into the trash can without hesitation. The smile on her face gradually stiffened until the last item was thrown into the trash can. She could no longer hide her panic in her heart, as in, do you know something? You raised your eyebrows, avoiding her question, and asked back, what can I know? What are you hiding from me? She looked away, not daring to look you in the eye, and was silent for a while, but still did not answer directly, but just held your hand, as in, no matter what happens, just remember that what happens, just remember that I love you. You pulled your lips and said nothing more. After finishing the cleaning, Yin Yushuan still insisted on taking you out on a date. You didn't refuse because you were afraid she would notice something strange. She took you to dinner and movies, and the car finally stopped at an auction venue. Just as you were about to enter, a man in a fine suit walked towards you. Yin Yushuan's expression flashed a little unnatural, which you saw at a glance. What's wrong? Did you meet an acquaintance? As soon as the voice fell, the man stood in front of you and greeted you with a smile. Yin Yushuan introduced. He is the son of my old friend, Chen Yuk. After a pause, she introduced you again. He is my boyfriend, Meng Yu Chen. Hearing her completely different introduction, Chen Yuk's smile froze on his face. But after a moment, he still forced a smile and stretched out his hand to you. I have heard that Luo Yu's boyfriend is very handsome, and today I see that he is indeed as good as he is. As she was talking, the group of sisters who laughed at you the day before also came over, and you realized that this encounter was deliberately arranged by them. Chen Yuk sat next to Yin Yushuan. He learned that Yin Yushuan was interested in porcelain, so he chatted with her about this topic. Yin Yushuan also gradually moved closer to him. You coughed, and Yin Yushuan remembered to leave you aside, and quickly said in a gentle voice, are you bored, Zen? I know you are not interested in these. If you like something, just bid for it. Before you said anything, you heard the whispers of her sisters behind you. Sister Yu is really good at saving face for Meng Yu Chen. Even if he is interested, so what? He doesn't know anything. I'm afraid he doesn't even know how to raise the placard. That's right. This must be his first time at an auction in the upper class. You didn't care? At this time, the transaction of the previous collection was completed, and the next collection was brought up. It was a jade sculpture of pine and crane longevity. The host introduced that it was the work of Master Jin Cheng, the ancestor of jade carving. Chen Yuk immediately became excited and raised the price tag. Lo Yu, this collection is of great value. The day after tomorrow is Grand Mian's birthday, so you can buy it as a birthday gift for Grand Mian. When you heard the name of Master Zhenshen, you subconsciously looked up at the collection on the stage, only to retract your gaze after a quick glance and said calmly, "This is fake." Chen Yu looked at you in disbelief. He was about to ask you what a country bumpkin knew. But when he saw Yin Yuxuan beside him, he suppressed his anger and smiled. "How did Mr. Ming tell that?" he said. "Because it was really given to his grandmother by the eldest son of the richest man, the Ming family. There is only one in the world and it's really in my house. The one on the stage must be fake. I'm just reminding you kindly." But as soon as this was said, Chen Yuk suddenly laughed out loud, and even Yin Yuxuan's group of sisters began to laugh at you wantonly. "Ming Yu Chen, if you don't understand, don't pretend to understand. It's really embarrassing that you were given away by the richest man. Could it be that you saw it with your own eyes while lying under the bed? You wouldn't think that you can be related to the eldest son of the Meng family, just because you have the surname Meng?" The laughter of the crowd became louder and louder, and finally Yin Yuxuan stopped them with a cold face. She looked at you and held your hand. "As in, I know you have read some appreciation books recently, but the appreciation level cannot be improved from books. Yuk has been going to auctions since she was a child, and she is quite interested in jade carvings, so she knows more than you." She felt that you were talking nonsense. You chuckled and said nothing. In the end, Chen Yuk spent a full 100 million yuan to buy the jade carving. I watched him swipe the card, wondering what this is. Yin would think when she found out that he spent 100 million yuan to buy a fake jade carving. You got up and went to the bathroom. Just after washing your hands, you heard Chen Yuk's sharp and piercing voice from behind. "Ming Yu Chen, I thought I had made it clear enough. You are still licking your face and not leaving. Do you really want to be the third party?" You raised your eyes and turned around. "Mister, I hope you can understand that it is me who has been with her for 5 years. The word third party cannot be my turn." You were ready to walk past him and leave, but he refused to give in. He sneered and continued to mock. "Yes, she didn't marry you after 5 years together. Have you ever thought about why? I am the heir of the Chen family, and she is the heir of the Yin group. She and I are well matched. But what about you? You have a gambling father and a sick mother in your family. You have such a shabby family background. You have nothing. How can you be worthy of her?" You paused. "This family background was fabricated by you. But you didn't expect Yin Yuxuan to tell Chen Yuk about it. You couldn't help but laugh at yourself indeed. They are not worthy. You are the perfect match. I wish you a happy marriage." After the voice fell, you walked away again. Not long after you walked out, your cell phone rang. It was your mother's call. "Wan Sen, come back soon. Everyone in the family is waiting for you, and we have prepared a lot of gifts for you. Your father and I bought you an ancient castle abroad, and your aunt bought you a diamond watch, which is said to have been worn by the King of England. Your uncle also bought you a garage full of luxury cars. You looked helpless, Mom. I'm going back to inherit the family property, not to squander it all." As soon as you finished speaking, Yin Yuxuan's voice came from behind. "What do you mean by inheriting the family property?" You paused, turned around and saw Yin Yuxuan's unhappy face, and after a moment of silence you explained, "Nothing. It's just that my former colleagues asked me what I was going to do after leaving. And I joked with them that I was going home to inherit the family property." Yin Yuxuan frowned. She felt something was wrong, and just as she was about to speak, you had already walked a few steps and turned back to call her. "Aren't you leaving? There are still a few jewelry collections that haven't been displayed." Hearing this, Yin Yuxuan thought you wanted to buy jewelry, so she nodded and followed you. After returning to the auction venue, Yin Yuxuan bought the next few limited edition watches and clothes at a high price and had them packed and sent to you. You looked at the box in your hand and whispered, I don't need these things. Yin Yush once smiled and hugged you. Get used to it in the future. Don't worry about wasting money. I will buy you a lifetime. You moved your lips, but in the end, you didn't say the rest of the words. You don't wear these tens of millions of things. Your watch collection is worth hundreds of millions. After the auction, you and Yin Yujuan were ready to drive away. As soon as you got in the car, Shenyuk knocked on the passenger window. The window slowly lowered, and Shenyuk completely lost his sarcastic look just now. Oh, you, my car broke down. Can you take me home? Yin Yujuan frowned and was about to refuse, but he said again, Uncle and Aunt asked you to take care of me. You didn't forget it. Yin Yujuan didn't know what he thought of. His face sank slightly, and finally agreed. Seeing Yin Yujuan nod, Shenyuk smiled more clearly, and then looked at you more aggressively. But what if I get carsick and can't sit in the back seat? Yin Yujuan looked at you, and before she could finish her words, you had already opened the back door and got out of the car, and moved directly to the back seat. Yin Yujuan was a little hesitant to speak, and you stopped talking all the way, closing your eyes to rest, and you actually fell asleep without knowing when. When you woke up again, the car had stopped in the garage of the Yin family villa, and Shenyuk was not in the car. Yin Yujuan touched your face. You're awake. I didn't want to wake you up because you were sleeping soundly. You were a little fuzzy nodded, opened the door and got out of the car, and walked straight to the gate without waiting for Yin Yujuan. When Yin Yujuan got off the car, you had already walked to the door. She chased after you and blocked you at the door. Are you angry? Shenyuk is really just the son of a family friend. Don't mind it. You hummed. Yin Yujuan thought you were still angry. She reached out and pulled you to coax you helplessly. He is really just the son of a family friend. Honey, I only love you, you know. After that, she smelled the rose fragrance on you, and thought about not being close to you for a while. She was about to kiss you, but you pushed her away. You looked at her surprised expression and went straight in. I don't feel well, so I'll go back to my room to rest first. After that, you locked the door directly, locking Yin Yujuan's chance to come in. The next morning, in the restaurant on the first floor, you and Yin Yujuan were having breakfast. Your mobile phone on the side suddenly rang. It was a time alarm you set some time ago, and the note was the day to meet your parents. Yin Yujuan also saw it. You had planned to confess your identity to her before, so you mentioned that she should go home to meet your parents, and she agreed. The two of you looked at each other, and you were thinking about how to cancel this meeting. The next second, Yin Yujuan's phone rang. It was Shenyuk's call. I don't know what she said on the other end. Her expression changed slightly, and she walked toward you again. She apologized and said, I suddenly have something to do this time. Can I accompany you to meet your uncle and aunt next time? I thought you would make a fuss or get angry, but you nodded calmly. It just so happens that I have something to do today. Not long after Yin Yujuan left, you also went out. You went shopping in the mall and prepared a gift for each of the friends you were going to meet later. When they arrived at the meeting place, everyone opened the packages and saw that each box contained a brand new luxury item. They exclaimed in surprise. Wan-sen, where did you get so many A-grade items? They are too real. You couldn't help but laugh out loud. They're all real. After explaining and seeing that they didn't believe you, you revealed your true identity. Actually, my real identity is Manu Chen, the only son of the richest man. I'm saying goodbye to you this time because I have to go home to inherit the family property. Hearing you say this, everyone was first stunned, shocked, and finally ecstatic, exclaiming that the rich young master was right next to them. After the cheers, someone remembered Yin Yujuan and asked hurriedly, But if you go back, what about Yin Yujuan? Does she know your true identity? When you mentioned Yin Yujuan, the smile on her face faded a little. She plans to marry someone else. How is that possible? Your friends were full of disbelief. In our eyes, she is a rare love-minded rich woman. You shook your head and smiled softly. She loves me, but her family thinks that my status is not worthy of her, so they forced her to get married. Before I had time to confess, she even printed the invitations. From what she said, she probably wants me to be her lover after marriage. When the brothers heard this, they exploded instantly, letting the only son of the richest man be their lover. Their Yin family is really crazy. Well, she will chase me when the time comes. At the funeral of the husband and wife. That's right. If she knew you left secretly, her family would be crazy if they knew your true identity. Just then, Yin Yujuan and Chen Yu walked in from outside the door, and frowned when they heard what they said. What true identity? Seeing them coming together, a friend was filled with righteous indignation, and was stopped by Yu just as he was about to speak. You looked at the two people who just came in, with a cold expression. Why are you here? Hearing Yu ask, Yin Yujuan still felt a little guilty, and her eyes were erratic. Our two families just happened to have a cooperation, so let's meet up to talk. Listening to her answer, you laughed. Of course you knew about their cooperation, marriage cooperation, because they were going to talk about cooperation. Yin Yujuan and Chen Yuk did not sit with you, but sat at a separate table next to you, not far away so that you could see their intimate interaction. Chen Yuk helped Yin Yujuan cut steak. Yin Yujuan shared his favorite food with him. Chen Yuk handed her a tissue, and Yin Yujuan helped him wipe the dirty corners of his lips. The two of them went back and forth, which made your friends furious, but you remained calm. After the meal, you left, and Yin Yujuan proposed to send you and Chen Yuk home. Perhaps after the last dispute over the cupola, Yin Yujuan learned her lesson this time and simply drove the family's extended Rolls-Royce, with the driver driving, so naturally he would not go to the cupola again. The car drove all the way till you drove towards Chen's house. But you didn't expect an accident to happen suddenly. An out-of-control truck came from the other direction, and the two cars inevitably collided. The car window shattered, and you fell to the other side due to inertia. Just in time, you saw Yin Yujuan protecting Chen Yuk on the side. Not only did she not hurt him at all, but she also calmed him down. Until several people got out of the car, Yin Yujuan, who had been calming Chen Yuk's emotions, finally saw you silently covering your bleeding forehead. Fortunately, you were not seriously injured. After being bandaged in the hospital, there was no problem. The doctor still recommended that you stay in the hospital for observation for 2 days. Yin Yujuan looked at the gauze on her head, her face full of guilt, as in, I'm sorry, I was just thinking that I would need to attend a cooperation with Chen Yuk in a while, and his face couldn't be injured, so I protected him. I accept it if you hit me or scold me, but just don't ignore me, okay? She admitted her fault sincerely, and her reason seemed reasonable, if you hadn't remembered their wedding, which was to be held in less than half a month. You lowered your eyes and said nothing, neither saying no nor forgiving, with a calm expression from beginning to end. Yin Yujuan's apology still did not stop. She kept saying sorry, and suddenly seemed to remember something, with a hopeful light in her eyes. Your birthday is in a few days. Can I give you a gift in advance? Whatever birthday gift you want, I will buy it for you. Hearing this, you finally looked up at her, but your eyes were calm. Then buy me a plane ticket to Shanghai in 3 days. What are you going to Shanghai for? She was a little surprised, but soon she gave her own answer. Do you want to travel? You didn't explain, just nodded and said, Yin Yujuan didn't ask any more questions. She opened her phone and bought a plane ticket to Shanghai in front of you. After buying the ticket, she said, I have something to do during this period and I don't have time to accompany you. You go to Shanghai first, and I will accompany you when I'm free. Buying a plane ticket is too small as a birthday gift. I will give you a big surprise when the time comes. You shook your head and smiled gently. Not small, not at all. After all, this plane ticket is my way home. Yin Yujuan, thank you for your gift and for sending me home personally. During the 2 days in the hospital, Yin Yujuan seemed to have returned to the time when you first fell in love, and she took great care of you. But the good times didn't last long, and her care ended on the day you were discharged from the hospital. She said that there was something going on at the company and asked the driver to take you home. Then she received a provocative text message from Chenyu. You didn't care about the message, but went home quietly and started packing your luggage. You got up very early on the day of departure. 7 hours before the flight, you moved the suitcases out the door one by one, but you just bumped into Yin Yuxuan who was coming back. Seeing that there were several suitcases piled up at the door of the villa, she looked panicked, and a trace of uneasiness suddenly rose in her heart. What's going on? Didn't I say I was going to Shanghai to play? Or did you forget the ticket you bought for me? You looked calm, as if you were really just going to go out for a trip. Yes, didn't you buy me a ticket to Shanghai? I wanted to bring a few more sets of clothes and take more photos. Yin Yujuan thought that you didn't like taking pictures that much before, and a sense of uneasiness spread from her heart to her whole body, making her want to open your suitcase on the spot and check it carefully, to see if it was really as you said. Just as she was about to move, she was interrupted by a rapid ring of the phone. It was a call from Chen Yuk. After answering the phone, she didn't know what was said on the other end. Yin Yujuan was silent for a moment, and finally left the door first. Before leaving, she didn't forget to remind you again, don't play too long. When the time comes, send me the flight back and I will pick you up. You didn't answer because you knew you wouldn't come back, and this meeting was a farewell forever. 5 hours before takeoff, you changed the password of the gate from your birthday to Chen Yuk's birthday, and then posted a sticky note on the door. After all, this will be Mr. Chen's home in the future, so it's better to set the password to his birthday. 3 hours before takeoff, you found all the photos of you and Yin Yujuan in the villa and threw them all into the brazier. Now the memories are burning bit by bit, and you are completely over. 2 hours before takeoff, your phone rang, and you clicked it and saw that it was a video sent to you by Chen Yu. The video seemed to be at a family dinner with Yin Yujuan's friends, Chen Yu's friends, and the elders of both sides. Many people surrounded Yin Yujuan and Chen Yu. The two hot topics, and the voices of booing came one after another. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Kiss, I said Sister Yu is getting married in a few days. What's there to be embarrassed about kissing? Amid the booing, Chen Yu lowered his head with red cheeks and approached her. The screams of the crowd became louder and louder, and they booed Chen Yu to kiss him. Chen Yujuan looked closely at the person in front of her, and finally closed her eyes and raised her hand to hold the back of his head. The video was played over and over again. When it was played for the 7th time, Chen Yu sent a message. Meng Chen, did you see it? I am the son-in-law who is recognized by everyone in the Yin family as the heir. Your family is so poor, how can the Yin family like you? With your family background, you can almost marry a beggar. So what if Wu Yu loves you? Her defenses are being broken down, little by me. First she accompanied me to meet my parents, then we lived together, and just now she kissed me. How long will it take for us to be together? You didn't reply to his message, but silently printed out all the provocative messages he sent these days. One by one, sorted them into a pile, and placed them in the empty living room. An hour before takeoff, you left the last words on the pile of printed paper. Yin Yujuan, happy wedding, we are over. Then you dragged your suitcase out of the villa area, took a taxi and rushed towards the airport. Yin Yujuan, from now on, you will be the richest young master, and have nothing to do with her. At the Shanghai airport, when you dragged your suitcase out of the airport, a Bugatti that was obviously worth A lot of money was waiting outside. As soon as he saw you coming, the man waiting outside the car immediately opened the door for you. Young master, please get in the car. The luggage was lifted into the car, and you sat in the car while chatting with the man sitting in the driver's seat. Uncle Lee, why are you here to pick me up? Where is the driver at home? Uncle Lee laughed, and the slight wrinkles at the corners of his eyes made him look a little more amiable. The car started and slowly drove into the traffic, and his voice rang out. Young master hasn't been back for so many years. I heard that young master is coming back today, so I took the initiative to take this job over. It seems that Uncle Lee misses me. You smiled with a hint of teasing in your eyes, and asked about the family situation again. How are Mom and Dad these years? Uncle Lee has been the housekeeper of the Meng family for decades, and he has watched you grow up. He is more like an elder to you, so the two of you don't seem alienated when getting along. He did not deny her teasing but nodded and said, I do miss you. The master and the mistress are all normal at home and in good health. There is nothing else except that they miss you. You and Uncle Lee chatted all the way, and when the car stopped at the main family villa, you also had a general understanding of the family's situation in recent years. After getting off the car, you walked straight to the villa. When you opened the door, a group of servants had already been guarding the door. When they saw you come in, their voices and movements were very uniform. Welcome home, young master. You held your forehead with your hand helplessly. Uncle Lee pushed the suitcase over, and the servant took it and carried it upstairs. Seeing your helpless look, Uncle Lee said with a smile, the master and the lady pay attention to the sense of ceremony. When they learned that the young master was coming back, they trained them overnight to hold a welcome ceremony. Now, you nodded. Although the scene was really exaggerated, you didn't say anything to spoil the fun, but went directly to the living room. The living room was indeed full of people at this moment, including Meng's father and mother, as well as your uncle and aunt. You went forward to greet them one by one and sat down next to Meng's father and mother. Looking at their concerned expressions, the peace that had always been there was suddenly broken. You leaned on your mother's shoulder, and an unspeakable grievance surged in your heart. You have been spoiled by all the elders since you were a child, and you have never suffered any losses until you concealed it for experience. You went to Chai Cheng and met Yin Yujuan. You dated her for 5 years and you gave your heart to her. At that time you really wanted to spend the rest of your life with her, and you firmly believed that you would be each other's only lover sooner or later. Unfortunately, you almost became her lover who was kept outside without knowing anything. Your sincerity was just wasted in the end. Menmu saw your depressed mood and patted your shoulder. The past is over. The thing we are least afraid of is making mistakes. At worst, we can start over. What we lack the most is tolerance. Hearing the comfort from Meng's mother, your mood finally eased a little. Seeing this, the other people also hurriedly changed the topic and took out the gifts they had prepared long ago. They realized that what Meng's mother said, when she called you some time ago, was not exaggerated at all, and was even a little conservative. From the house deeds to the keys, a long bunch of keys were piled on the thick stack. The most conspicuous one was the diamond watch in the middle, made of golden diamonds. Each diamond was huge, revealing the extraordinary and preciousness of the watch everywhere. But they still seemed to feel that it was not enough, trying to fill the table in front of you before they would be satisfied. Just when you were a little helpless and wanted to say no, Aunt Meng suddenly slapped the table, and her eyes lit up. Didn't one cent just break up? It just so happens that the daughter of a friend of mine has recently returned to China. My friend has been worried for a long time about her not finding a boyfriend. Why don't you go and meet her, just as if you are making friends? You worst and then quickly waved your hands to say that you didn't need it. But Aunt Meng didn't give you any explanation, and directly took out her mobile phone and gave you a contact number. I met that little girl before she went abroad. She was very beautiful. Even if we are not destined to be together, it would be nice to have her as a friend. Unable to refuse the kindness, you finally agreed to your aunt's proposal. But you didn't expect that when you clicked on the contact information pushed by your aunt, you found that you already had that person's friend. You clicked in and took a look. There is no note. The avatar was a crescent moon in the pure black. The nickname was also very simple with only two simple letters W. As she were stunned and thought about it carefully for a long time, but still couldn't remember when you added her as a friend. You didn't ask, and turned off the phone screen as if nothing had happened. Anyway, all the answers will appear naturally when you meet. Just as you were preparing to meet someone else's blind date, Yin Yuxuan finally returned home on the other side. It was getting dark, and the lights were not on in the villa. She didn't see the label on the door. She entered the password as usual. When she was ready to push the door and after entering, she found that the door still couldn't be pushed open. She looked up in confusion and saw the note on the door. After all, this will be Mr. Chen's home in the future. It's better to set the password to his birthday. Mr. Chen's home? Chen Yu. Her heart skipped a beat. Did you know something? But she and Chen Yu had only met once, and no one else could tell you about this. How could you know that she was going to marry Chen Yuk? Yin Yuxuan hesitantly entered Chen Yuk's birthday, and the door of the villa opened. After turning on the lights, the villa was empty. She subconsciously called out to his aunt, and the voice echoed in the villa, but no one responded. She suddenly remembered that you went to Shanghai 2 days ago. You rarely leave her for a long time like this, and most of the time you were waiting for her to come back home. Or rather, since you started living together, except for this time, every time she came home, you would wait for her to come back home. Yin Yuxuan suddenly felt a little uneasy, and suddenly wondered, are you really serious about the emptiness in your heart? But on second thought, she put this thought behind her. How could it be possible? You loved her so much, probably just because she spent less time with you these days, so you made some random guesses and guessed the relationship between her and Chen Yuk. But you always come back when she gets to her side. She will coax you then. Thinking of this, she pressed her eyebrows and walked towards the living room. It seems that she will have to call you later to ask when you will be back and have a good chat with you. Just when she walked to the living room and before she dialed the phone, her eyes were attracted by a pile of things on the table in the living room. Yin Yuxuan did not stop at all, and walked over there faster. Soon she sat down on the sofa and picked up the pile of paper documents that she didn't know what they were. She had a faint expectation in her heart. It was your things something. For her. See, she said you were just angry. How could you really leave her? A faint smile appeared on her lips, but soon she froze after seeing the contents on the paper. The top page had nothing but a line of handwritten words. Yin Yuxuan recognized it as your handwriting at a glance, blooming on the paper. If you don't look closely at the contents, you will only feel pleasing to the eye, but it is precisely such handwriting. The words written are like a heavy hammer, hitting her heart heavily. Yin Yuxuan, happy wedding, we are over. She seemed to hear the sound of her own tinnitus, and her mind went blank. She read it carefully several times before finally confirming that she was not mistaken. Yin wrote happy wedding. We are over. Azan didn't want her anymore. It must be a joke. How could Azan not want her? Our hand unconsciously turned the page and tore it off, crumpled it into a ball and threw it far away. It was also because of this action that the content of the second page appeared. It was a screenshot of the chat history printed out, which was recorded from the day when the friend was added. You didn't make any remarks, so Yin Yuxuan could only see the person's avatar and nickname. She was very familiar with him because she also had a friend of that person, Chen Yuk. The first message was sent by Chen Yuk half a month ago. As she turned the pages, her heart fell to the bottom. I heard that you are the one that Luo Yu kept outside. My name is Chen Yuk, and I am her fiancé. I advise you to be sensible and leave quickly. Otherwise, when Lo you and I get married, you will be kicked out of the villa and your face will not look good. With just one word from me, Lo you will come to see me again. We will meet the parents tomorrow. When we really get married, where are you? A lover who can't see the light of day? So what if she loves you? Now that she has kissed me, how long do you think it will take for us to go to bed? Sometimes there are photos or videos in between, including photos of them trying on wedding dresses together, photos of them choosing diamond rings together, and photos of them choosing wedding venues together. And that video was the one he clicked on and captured the most representative frame in the entire video, which is also the frame that Chen Yu wants you to see the most. It is a picture of her and Chen Yu kissing passionately in the presence of both parents and a group of friends. The string in her head suddenly broke, and she felt speechless panic. She can't mutter in the 3 words. I don't believe it. She got up and ran towards the bedroom upstairs, but her legs couldn't help but become weak. When she went upstairs, she accidentally stepped on the air and her dung. With a bang, she rolled down the stairs. The stinging pain made her regain some sanity. She gritted her teeth and supported herself on the handrail of the stairs to stand up again, limping back upstairs. This time, perhaps because she walked slower, no accidents happened, and she returned to the bedroom smoothly. At a glance, she found that only her things were left in the room, and all the items related to you had disappeared. Even the photo frames of the 2 of you that had been placed on the bedside tables on both sides, the photos in them were gone, and only the lonely photo frames were still placed in their original places. Yin Yujuan seemed to realize something, and panic flashed in her eyes again. She opened the wardrobe in the drawer, and after taking out her things, those places became empty. Bedroom, bathroom, study. She searched every place in the villa that might be related to you, but she didn't see anything related to you. Things related to you. Recalling that you suddenly said you wanted to clean up some time ago, and then threw away all the couple's items. At this moment, she finally understood why you did that. Azan was so heartless that he didn't leave her any memories. The uneasiness in her heart was about to turn into reality, but she still couldn't believe it. You had been together for 5 years, and you obviously loved her so much. But you could be so cruel to abandon her. She couldn't believe what she saw, and the only thing in her mind was to find you to ask for clarification. She didn't even know what she had done. When she came to her senses, she had returned to the living room, and there was a long beeping sound from her mobile phone. The ringing lasted for a long time before the other side finally picked up. Maybe because it was late, you seemed to be woken up from your sleep, and you didn't see who was calling and answered it directly. There was still a little haziness in your voice that you hadn't woken up completely. Hello, who is it? Azan, it's me. She spoke with some difficulty, fearing that you would hang up the phone as a harassment call. Where are you? I want to see you. And what about our photos together? As soon as she opened her mouth, you were already fully awake. You raised your phone and sighed deeply when you saw the words, "Will you," on the screen. You miscalculated and forgot to block her contact information. Just when you were silent, Yin Yujuan called your name a few more times, which made you feel annoyed. Ms. Yin, you are going to get married, so you should avoid suspicion. I think Mr. Chen will be unhappy when he sees those photos when he moves into the villa, so I burned them. As for meeting, I think it is even more unnecessary. You are about to get married to someone else. Why do you still want to meet with me, your ex-boyfriend? After hearing you say that all the group photos had been burned, Yin Yujuan felt her heart bleed, but what hurt her even more was your straightforward rejection. Azan, I didn't agree to break up. Chen Yu and I are not what you think. You are the only one I love. How can you just abandon me so casually? At the end of the words, you even heard some sobs in her voice, which made you silent for a while. You rarely see her cry. In the 5 years of dating, not counting this time, you have only seen her cry once, when you were in a car accident together. Obviously, she was the one who was more seriously injured, but when she woke up and saw the unavoidable wounds on her body, she still cried and couldn't make a sound. She didn't look decisive in the business world at all. If a partner who had a cooperation with Yin's happened to pass by at that time and saw her appearance at that time, I'm afraid he would be shocked. This time is the second time. You have never denied Yin Yuxuan's love for you in the past. But it is precisely because you have seen Yin Yuxuan love you. So when she later agreed to marry Chen Yuk on the pretext of dealing with her family's urging for marriage, you could also keenly sense that her heart began to shift. She may still love you very much, but you are not the only one she loves, so you will be the first one to be abandoned after weighing the pros and cons. Whether she made the decision to secretly keep you as a lover outside, or she subconsciously saved Chen Yuk first in the car accident, you were no longer her first choice. So even if you hear her sobbing and her sadness at this moment, your heart will not be stirred. Yin Yuxuan, I just broke up with you, and breaking up does not require mutual consent. And if we talk about abandonment, didn't you give up the relationship between us first? Now why are you saying that I abandon you? And since we have come to this point, please understand that we have broken up, and please don't disturb my life again in the future. With every word you said, Yin Yuxuan's heart ached more. She moved her lips, her eyes full of sorrow, as N. Just after calling your name, the phone beeped, and she wanted to call back, but found that the call was no longer connected. She was blocked. Yin Yuxuan tried other ways to contact, but found that all the messages sent were followed by a red exclamation mark. She fell down on the sofa dejectedly. Her eyes fell on the pile of documents again. She stared at the pile of papers. Sadness and anger surged up. She swept the pile of papers away from the table. Pages of paper swayed in the air, and in a rustling sound, they finally fell on the table, sofa, and the ground. Chen Yuk, it's all Chen Yuk's fault. If he hadn't brought this matter to your attention, how could you suddenly leave so decisively? The last page of paper fell in front of her, and on it was the last boastful sentence that Chen Yuk sent to you. So what if he loves you? Now he has kissed me. How long do you think it will take for us to go to bed? She stared at the line of words with a heavy gaze, and suddenly sneered after a long time. A trace of viciousness suddenly flashed in her eyes like a pool of stagnant water. Chen Yuk, I told you a long time ago that the person I like is only a Zen. Who gave you the courage to go to a Zen to make trouble? Since you want to get married so much, how about I give you a big gift? You knew nothing about Yin Yuxuan's thoughts. You blankly added the number marked Lo Yu to the blacklist, and dragged all her contact information to the blacklist. Then you put your phone back and fell asleep. You slept very soundly that night because the next day was the day you reported to Shenki Group. As an airborne CEO, you got up very early. You were confident that you could gain a foothold in this position. At least on the first day in office, you would not let yourself be criticized. Shenki Group is a family business of the Meng family. It has a history of hundreds of years and covers a wide range of areas. Clothing brands, high-end jewelry, perfume bags, beauty and skincare, daily necessities. Shenki not only has them, but also can dominate them. In fact, you originally planned to start with a brand under Shenki, but Meng's father and mother said that they believed you could be the CEO of Shenki and pushed you to this position. So on the day you took office, Shenki Group airborne a young and handsome CEO. The news spread throughout the circle. At that time, Yin Yuxuan was drinking alone with her sisters in the largest club in Cheng. When she heard that you knew that she was going to marry someone else, she broke up with her in anger, and no one took it to heart. He just couldn't accept that he could only follow you without a name or status in the future, so he broke up in anger. I heard that he resigned a while ago. Don't worry, he will come back sooner or later when his money is gone. Otherwise, he will fill the hole for his gambling father and seriously ill mother. That's right, I've seen a lot of little white faces like him. He just wanted to get close to you in the past. Now that his dream is shattered, it's normal that he can't accept it. At most, you can coax him after a while. Yes, with his status, how could he be your husband? He was just dreaming. He never dared to think about letting him live with you like this before. The mocking voices kept coming one after another, and Yin Yujuan, who had been drinking alone, felt a little irritated. Her face was gloomy and she suddenly smashed the wine glass in her hand. Pa! The crisp sound of glass breaking and the scattered fragments made the noisy environment quiet down a bit. Suddenly, her cold voice sounded, "Have you said enough?" Everyone else stared at her expression blankly without reacting, and no one could figure out why she was angry. It sounded like she was supporting you, but it wasn't the first time they said that to you, and they even said it to her many times. Didn't you and Yin Yujuan never say anything? What does this mean now? In the end, Wang Tianmei, who was closest to her, frowned and spoke first to break the dead silence. She still didn't take her temper to heart, thinking that she was complaining about them being too noisy. She snorted and laughed twice, and looked at her with a bit of ridicule in her eyes. What's wrong, sister? You is still in a bad mood? We know you care about him more, don't worry. How can you really let go of you, a cash cow? Believe it or not, he will definitely give in to you in less than half a month, and by then it's still whatever you say. But she raised her head and looked at Wang Tianmei the moment she finished speaking. Her eyes were fierce and her voice was cold. Apologize. Wang Tianmei was stunned, not understanding what she meant, and her voice sounded again. Apologize to him. It was not until this moment that Wang Tianmei finally understood that she was really doing all these things because they belittled you. Sister Yu, why are you so excited? And the sisters are not wrong. He is a poor boy who climbs up to you, isn't it just for money? Didn't you refute it when we said it before? Hearing Wang Tianmei's words, Yin Yujuan was stunned, and the gloom in her eyes dissipated, and finally turned into confusion. Did they say such things many times before? Did you choose to indulge when you encountered such a situation before? She searched in her memory, trying to find evidence to refute it, and found that Wang Tianmei was right. It was not the first time they belittled you like this, and she chose to default whether you were not present, or present because they spoke French. Only when they said it directly in front of you will they stop it. But how can such a stop be considered evidence? That was just her forced pretense in front of you, and her previous acquiescence was her rude thoughts. Thinking of this, she suddenly choked, and didn't know what to say, so she could only drink one glass after another. But at the same time, Yin Yujuan couldn't help but feel a glimmer of hope in her heart. Yes, you still have a gambling father and a seriously ill mother. Now you have lost your job. Maybe you will really return to her after a while. At this time, other people didn't want to offend her again, and had changed the topic. Shanti Group recently parachuted in a CEO. Have you heard any news? I heard that it was the eldest son of the Ming family. There has been no news in recent years because he wanted to train himself alone in other places. Now that he is returned, he will immediately hand over Shenki to him. After all, the Meng family has only one son, the eldest son Meng, and those industries will definitely fall into his hands in the end. Even if he was parachuted in, he was trained early and can take office directly. You said we all had the same surname Meng. Why is there such a big gap between people? Xin One was not interested in this topic, so she did not participate in it. She just sat alone in the corner, with more and more empty bottles in front of her. She did not listen carefully, so naturally she did not hear what they said about the eldest son of the Meng family being out for training in the past few years and returning home recently. She did not think that perhaps the words written on the note you left for her when you left were all true. It was late at night when the show ended. Yin Yuxuan drank too much and her steps became weak. When Tianmei and her group saw that she could not even stand steadily, and they were really worried about letting her go back alone, so they could only call Chen Yu. When he hurried over, Wang Tianmei was the only one left by Yin Yuxuan's side. Seeing him coming, Wang Tianmei quickly handed Yin Yuxuan to him. Brother-in-law, I will leave Sister Yu to you. You must send Sister Yu back well. She gave him a look that said, you know, and took her car keys and walked out of the box, leaving behind Yin Yuxuan, who was already drunk and unconscious, and Chen Yu, who was blushing. He did not take her back to the Yin family's villa, but went straight back to his own villa. After finally entering the room and having someone throw her into the soft bed, he wiped her face considerately and finally lay down beside her carefully. Oh, whoa, we are going to get married anyway. It's just a little bit earlier. The woman beside him didn't know if she really heard what he said. She'd buried her head in his shoulder and neck. Her hot breath sprayed out and fell on his neck, making his body tremble involuntarily. The temperature in the room seemed to be gradually warming up with the ambiguous atmosphere. But the name she called out the next second successfully made his heart, which was about to jump out of his body, return to its place instantly. As in, she didn't make any other movements but just held him tightly in her arms, as if he would disappear again if she let go. Chen Yu didn't make any other movements, but a trace of viciousness flashed across his eyes. Man Yu Chen, it's Man Yu Chen again. It would be great if Man Yu Chen could disappear from this world. The next day, Yin Yuxuan woke up from a hangover and felt a severe headache. She wanted to raise her hand to press it, but suddenly realized that there seemed to be another person in her arms. She lowered her head, but only saw a head with exquisite curly hair. Before her brain could react, the name was called out first, as An. But as soon as she said this, she realized something was wrong. You're still in Shanghai and haven't come back. How could you sleep in the same bed with her now? What's more, you have never had your hair permed. A sense of foreboding suddenly rose in her heart, and she pushed him out with force. Chen Yuk, who was pushed off the bed while sleeping, fell to the ground with a bang, and woke up completely. When he looked up, he saw Yin Yuxuan with a gloomy face. Why are you here? Her cold and emotional voice made him feel wronged. If the person in front of him at this moment was someone else, he might really be soft-hearted when he saw him like this. Or if it was Yin Yuxuan before she broke up with you, she might not be so cold to him. But at this moment, the person who saw him like this was Yin Yuxuan, who saw how he provoked you and caused you to break up with her. Seeing that she was still indifferent and even looked even gloomier, Chen Yu quickly suppressed the grievance in his heart and explained, you were drunk last night, and you didn't allow me to go to your villa, so I had to take you back to my house. Hearing this, Yin Yuxuan realized that she had not noticed that this room was not her room because she was angry just now. Her face improved a little, but her defense against him did not subside at all. Then, why did you sleep with me? As soon as she finished speaking, she saw a red cloud on his face. I was planning to settle you down and go to the second bedroom, but you held me and didn't let go, and his hesitant look made her eyes darken suddenly, and she didn't know how much she believed in his words. Chen Yukome saw her suddenly stand up and glance at him blankly before leaving the room. Chen Yuk, put away your little thoughts. We are getting married only because you are obedient and easy to deal with my parents. If there is a next time, I don't mind changing someone. Chen Yu looked ugly, and almost bit his teeth as he watched her leave. At the Meng family in Shanghai, you looked at another strange caller number that lit up on your phone, and for the first time you felt that Yin Yuxuan was as annoying as a dogskin plaster that you couldn't get rid of. After you blocked her some time ago, she was quiet for a long time, but recently, I don't know what's wrong with her. You blocked a number, and she changed the number and continued to call you. After hanging up and blocking this number again, the ringing phone finally came to an end. You exhaled lightly, turned off the mute of your phone and turned it upside down on the table. Then you finally had time to look at the document in front of you seriously. This project is the first big project you have taken over since you came to Shanti. If you can win this project perfectly, you will have a firm foothold among the senior management of Shanti. At that time you took over the project without hesitation. But after taking over, you found that there was suddenly another Yin Yujuan among the bidders. You were not afraid of confronting Yin Yujuan head-on, but you don't understand why Yin Yujuan did this. Yin's roots are in Sharon. She suddenly intervened in the project in Shanghai. Thinking of this, you couldn't help but sneer. Yin Yujuan doesn't think she is very affectionate like this. While preparing for the wedding with one man, she is entangled with another man, and she is so confident that she dares to tell you that she and Chen Yuk are not what you think. But even if she really doesn't love Chen Yuk, so what? Chen Yuk is the person she chose to marry after she agreed to it. Even if he is not the only son of the richest man, she shouldn't make her own decision and turn you from a legitimate boyfriend into her lover outside. The bidding was very fierce this time. Not only Shang Qi and Yin participated, but most of the first-class, wealthy families in Shanghai also participated. There were also people like Yin Yujuan who came from other cities. Because there were too many people, the organizer directly held a banquet and invited all the groups participating in the bidding. When Aunt Meng sent the invitation letter, she also winked at you mysteriously. You looked at her meaningful eyes, thinking that you had missed some information, and looked at her with a confused face. "Aunt, is there anything else?" When Aunt Meng heard what you said, she immediately glanced at you, seeing that you seemed to have really forgotten what you had agreed to a few days ago. She stopped teasing you and patted your shoulder. "Oh, didn't I ask you to meet my friend's daughter some time ago? She has been very busy recently and didn't make time. Isn't she going to the bidding this time? So it's just right that you can go together." When you heard that it was about a blind date, you were speechless and choked up. In addition to the occasion of the meeting, you didn't know whether to laugh or cry for a while. "And if we all go to the bidding this time, then we will become competitors. You are the first one to let competitors go on a blind date at the bidding site." You followed your words and gave a thumbs up. Aunt Meng didn't care about it. So what? The opponent on the court may not be the same off the court. What's more, if you meet first, wouldn't it be good to use the beauty trick? I have asked around. Although the girl has never been in a relationship, she has liked a boy. I heard that he is just your type. You were stunned when you heard it. And then you remembered that since you found out that you and that person have been friends for a long time, you skipped the step of adding friends, and then you forgot to chat, and naturally forgot the blind date. Now that Yan Meng reminded you, you finally remembered that person. The person you like is the same type as you, and you have been friends for a long time. Could it be that this girl added you as a friend in the first place because of this? You frowned, and your good impression of her and your heart dropped a few points. Now it seems that she doesn't really want to find a boyfriend, but just because she has never forgotten the person in her heart. In this case, if you get close to him, does it count as rushing to be a substitute for someone? You didn't mention this to Aunt Mao. After all, Meng didn't know about it. She just smiled perfunctorily and accepted the invitation. You didn't feel anything about the meeting Aunt Meng mentioned, but you didn't expect that. You thought your silence should be regarded as a polite refusal. But in Aunt Meng's eyes it turned out to be tacit consent. On the day of the bidding, someone drove a car to wait outside your villa. "Hello, Mr. Meng." The woman in a small perfume dress suit saw you coming out and quickly greeted you. But you just stood in front of her without moving a step. I haven't asked your name yet. She was stunned, lowered her eyes to hide the loneliness in her eyes, and replied after a moment of silence, My last name is Ji Yin Yang. After getting the answer, you didn't continue to stalemate with her. When she gestured to get in the car again, you obediently sat in the cupola until the car door closed. You didn't know whether you were angry or for some other reason, and you didn't talk to her again. You looked at the scenery outside the car window, but you chewed the 3 words Ji Yin Yang unconsciously. You don't have any special impression of this name, but you feel it is familiar. You quietly turned your head to look at her, and saw that she was just concentrating on driving. She wanted to say something but didn't know how to start. After hesitating for a while, she still said nothing. The car stopped at the banquet hall soon, and you and Zhi Yingying got out of the car. You were going to enter directly, and walked forward for a distance, but she was still standing behind you. You turned around, and what caught your eye was her stunned look. What's wrong? You said in confusion. She pursed her lips, raised her eyes and looked straight at you. Others and their female companions entered the venue together arm in arm. For some reason, Zhu Yingying's face did not have any expression, but you inexplicably saw a trace of grievance on her face. You coughed lightly, walked back helplessly, took her hand, and walked towards the direction of the banquet hall together. When you were close to the door, you still couldn't help asking, Did we know each other before? The moment Ji Yin heard your question, it would be a lie to say that she didn't feel lost. You really didn't remember yourself at all. Just when you thought she wouldn't answer this question, she finally broke the dead silence. We were classmates in high school, but I was always the one sitting in the corner. She was lonely and dull, and was always the most easily ignored one in the class. Even Ji's father and mother were always busy with work all year round and had no time to take care of her. At that time, Zhe Yingying was immersed in her own world every day, and her reaction to the classmates who came to talk to her was mediocre. Therefore, even though she didn't look ordinary, no one could remember her. Just like you next to her now. She liked you for a long time, starting from the first time she approached you. Unlike other classmates who just greeted her perfunctorily and never contacted her again, you at that time would not ignore her directly because of her silence. No matter what the problem was, you would seriously ask all the classmates for their opinions, including her. You became the person who appeared most often in her life, and the only light in her life. But later, she hated her cowardice and silence countless times, which made her add you as a friend only through the only yearbook information after graduation. But she never took the initiative to say a word to you. You seemed to have evaporated from the world and completely disappeared from her world. Now that you meet again, you have no impression of her at all. You walked into the banquet hall, and many people had already come in. You saw Yin Yuxuan standing not far away at a glance. She also happened to look at you, and her eyes fell on your hand holding Ji Yin, and her face instantly became ugly. But you pretended not to see it, and walked to the other side with Ji Yin. At this time the organizer began to give a speech, briefly introducing the situation of this project and the bidding rules. After that, it was free communication time, and everyone was busy expanding their network and looking for cooperation opportunities. You were talking to several people in the industry, and Ji Yingying stood quietly beside you, occasionally helping you pass a drink and smiling at the right time, which seemed very decent. Suddenly, Yin Yuxuan appeared out of nowhere, walked straight to you, and looked at Ji Yin provocatively. Who is this? As in your new girlfriend. You frowned slightly, and before you could say anything, Ji Yin took the lead tightly, raising a sweet smile. Yes, I am as N's girlfriend. Who are you? Yin Yuxuan snorted. As N and I have been dating for 5 years. Who do you think I am? Ji Yin's face changed slightly. But she quickly regained her composure. That's all in the past, as Em lets me know. You watch the two of them confront each other, feeling a little helpless. This time, a voice came from the side. "Oh, you are here. I'd been looking for you for a long time." Everyone turned around and saw Chen Yu coming over. When he saw Yu and Ji Ying, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes, but he quickly returned to normal. Yin Yujuan took Chen Yu's arm. "This is my fiancé Chen Yu." Chen Yu nodded at Yu, but there was a hint of pride in his eyes. Just when the atmosphere was a little awkward, the organizer announced the official start of the bidding. Everyone walked to their respective positions and prepared to start presenting their plans. You took a deep breath, put the previous episode behind you, and devoted yourself to the bidding. The plan is very good, from market analysis to project planning, to future development direction. All are clearly explained, winning the praise of many people present. A team of Yin Yujuan and Ji Ying also performed very well, especially Ji Ying, who was confident and calm when explaining the plan, and her professional quality was extremely high, which made you look at her with new eyes. After the bidding ended, everyone was waiting for the results to be announced. Yin Yujuan suddenly walked to your side and whispered, "As in, no matter what the result is today, I will not give up on you. I will definitely let you come back to me." Before you could respond, you heard the host announce, "The winning bidder for this project is Shangqi Group." A burst of applause and congratulations rang out around you, and you breathed a sigh of relief with a relieved smile on your face. Ji Ying hugged you excitedly. "As in, we succeeded.